Roxanne, Roxanne. Roxanne, Roxanne is the new Netflix movie about Roxanne Shante, the female, or I want to say the first female rapper, really, the first female young rapper, battle rapper from Queensbridge, New York City. The biggest housing project in the United States, or in the North America? The biggest housing project pretty much the world, we'll just say the world. It showcases living in the projects, being a young black female in the project. She lives with her mother and her sisters, and she's an aspiring rapper, but she's poor. Duh. She's an aspiring rapper in the 80s. Duh, she's poor. So she has a lot of oh my god, I'm so hungry. Now, having growing up in the late 80s, I grew up on Nas, Biggie, Jay-Z, Rakim, like not so much any female rappers until Foxy and Kim and Lauren, Salt-N-Pepa. But Roxanne Shante was way before my time, so I didn't know anything about her. But when I saw the trailer a few weeks ago, I knew I would watch it, I knew I would like it, and I really do like it. We see Roxanne Shante go through different stages in her life. You know, when we first see her, we're introduced to her. Her name is Shante. That's actually her middle name in real life. And she's a little girl, and she's like the hottest rapper in Queensbridge, and she battles all these other guys, and they're so much older than her, and she has her friend with her, and she's kind of like her hype man. And her mother recognizes her daughter's talent, so she kind of encourages her to do it so she could kind of make a profit off of it because she gets paid for these battles. So then we fast forward, it's 1982, and Shante is a little bit older. She's a teenager, and she's living in the project with her mother and her sisters. She has 3 younger sisters, so she's the oldest. She's the one who's kind of like the second mom. She's very motherly and comforting to them. So you can already tell the type of personality that she has. Like, she has the hustler mentality and the parental mentality about her, because even when she's not home, she's still trying to make money, where she, you know, obviously she's in school, but she's making money battling. Or if someone wants her to watch their kid, she'll ask them, you know, put something in my hand, like give me some money if you want me to do something for you. And also she's like going to stores and stealing clothes for guys in the neighborhood who will pay her for clothes. So she's just a hustler. She's hustling day to day, and you see her day-to-day life in the projects. That's what she's doing. She's going to school and she's hustling. And, you know, that's what you got to do when you living in the hood and you're poor with your parents and your sisters, and you have to provide. So her mother, the biggest and the first conflict of the film is her mother has a boyfriend, and she wants to move out of the project, so she collects all this money. We don't actually see her mother's occupation, but she talks about it, and she's basically doing like I don't know if it's home health care or just home care. So that's what she does, and she saved up so much money so they could get out of the projects and she could get a house. And when the movie begins, that's what everyone's looking forward to. The daughters are picking out their rooms, and everyone's excited because they're moving out of the projects into this big house. And their mother saved $20,000 for the house. Unfortunately, she gives it to her deadbeat, trifling ass boyfriend, which when that happened, I was just like, why are you giving it to him? Why? This nigga don't love you. I don't know why. Well, women always get into these situations where they have all this money and they give it to a man because they trust them, and they think the man loves them, and it's just so, it's this cycle. Like, you have these 4 daughters and no man is in the house. He's not the father to any of these children. He's your boyfriend. He's not even your husband. He doesn't even live with you. He's literally just some nigga. She gives him the $20,000 for him to get the house, get a down payment on the house. Do I have to tell you what happens? Most likely you saw it. If you didn't, go see it. It's on Netflix. It's only like an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes long. It's very short. It's very entertaining. Go watch it. It showcases somebody's life, and we know that biopics are often great. So yeah, she gives him the money and he runs away with it. He runs away with it. We don't expect anything less from a trifling nigga that wants to live with a woman who has mad kids. Like, anybody who does that, I mean, you're not trying to marry her. Why would you take the money from her? I mean, I know why he took it from her, because he knew he was running away with it. It's just, it just broke my heart when that happened, because it was like, And when she's breaking down to her friend that she saved it for years for her babies, and this man just takes it. She wants to get out of the project so badly, and she finally got somewhere where she found a house and she was gonna get out, and he come drag her back down. Then she have this mentality about her that she tries to spread to her daughters, like, don't trust no man, don't trust no nigga, don't put your life in no man's hand, because they will let you down. And now that I think about it, now that I'm thinking about the movie again to review it and talk about it, this is not even really a review, this is just my thoughts on it. It made me really hate men. Like, when I was watching it, I was just like, is this the portrayal that they're trying to put forth? They're trying to get the audience to hate men, because there's not one good goddamn man in this whole shit. I'm just gonna preface that. Ain't no good man in this shit. Roxanne Shante didn't have not one good male influence in her life. It started with her father, it continued with her mother's boyfriend, and it ended with what we're gonna get to. We see her and her sisters, and they're waiting for their father to come pick them up to get them ice cream. And they're in their nice lovely dresses, their church dresses. You could tell that's their church dresses because everybody in the hood is like walking past them like, why y'all dress crazy like this? Is it Easter Sunday? So you know that that's their church dresses. And they're sitting there waiting for their father all day, and he doesn't come. And their mother's like, you see, this is a life lesson for y'all. And that whole picture that the beginning of the film paints, living in the hood, being a black female living in the hood in the 80s. I don't know if it's still like that now, but back then, men were very trifling. Their father didn't come. The mother's boyfriend ditched them, pretending to be nice, but he ditched them. And that's the whole setting of maybe the first act of the film. And it makes their mother bitter. She starts drinking, she's very harsh. Shante has a curfew. This happens earlier, but Shante has a curfew where she can't come back in the house after 9 p.m. So she leaves the house and she comes back at maybe 11, which she did. She can't come back in the house. The boyfriend eventually let her in the house, but the mother is very hard. She doesn't take it easy on Shante. And Shante is a teenager, so she's not, doing anything out of the norm. Any teenager is gonna be out late and, not listen to their parents. So she's acting like a normal teenager. Like I said before, she's rap battling the guys in the neighborhood and she's getting paid for it. So she gets a little bit older and she's getting better, obviously, because with age comes growth. So she is now killing everybody and people try to battle her, but they really can't. And she's up her price, so it's no longer $50, it's then $100, and then it becomes $250, and she becomes the known neighborhood hustling rap chick. Comes more conflict with her mother. So her mother doesn't so much kick her out, but she leaves because her mother won't let her make money, because she felt after the boyfriend took the money that she kind of felt like she had to take care of everybody. She had to provide because the mother was drinking and she was in a depression. So Shante felt, oh, I gotta make money. I have to work hard to make money. So she stopped going to school and she's hustling. But her mother is like, you can't be doing this. Can't be hustling, and she gives her a hard time basically. Shante gets fed up and she leaves and she moves out. Her mother doesn't kick her out, but she moves out. She moves in with one of the guys who she knows from the neighborhood that would help her get battles. She moves in with him and she has to pay him $50 a week. And she keeps doing that. So she's hustling constantly to pay her rent and to give her sisters money, because she's just this big time provider, even though she's only like 15, 16, she's a teenager. She's a child. But she doesn't get to be a child, basically. She's doing that, she's hustling, she's not going to school, and she's living with this guy. And something happens and she has to leave. He kicks her out. I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it. I'm about to say what happens. So if you don't want to know, stop watching. I really wish that you wouldn't watch this unless you've seen that movie. Spoiler. He attempts to rape her. She's walking around the house, and she's walking around the house in pajamas. It's a t-shirt that's completely covered. The neckline starts from here. The neckline is high. She's covered completely. It's a t-shirt, the arm stops here, and she's wearing shorts. She's covered. The only skin you see is the end of her arm and her leg. Like the top, a little below the top of the thigh and the leg. The vagina's covered, the boobies are covered. She's dressed inappropriate for someone about to go to sleep in their house. For some reason, niggas, this man that she's living with, I don't even know if he's a man or if he's a teenager like her, but he attempts to rape her based on what she's wearing. That's it. He says to her, you can't be dressing like that with men around, with people walking around here. You can't be dressed like that. And she's basically like, this is my pajamas. This is what I always wear. What do you mean? And he's like, nah, you can't dress like that. And she's not dressed inappropriately at all. First of all, if she was dressed inappropriately, nigga, I'm in my house, I'm about to go to sleep. But the fact that she wasn't, and he's telling her, you can't be dressing like that. What are you saying? I can't wear a t-shirt and shorts in my house. This is my pajamas when I go to sleep in. I can't be comfortable when I'm going to sleep. I gotta wear what? A big ass wool coat and long thick ass sweatpants, baggy sweatpants. I can't have nothing revealed. Is that what you're saying? When I'm about to be going to sleep? No, basically is what he's saying. And she's like, whatever. She walks away, he grabs her, pushes her down, and basically tells her, stop fighting. Why you acting like this? As if she's supposed to expect sex. That was the attitude he had toward her when he grabbed her and threw her down. Like, why you acting like this? Like, don't you know, like, we about to fuck? Isn't this what you wanted? Like, you walking around here like this is what you clearly, like, that's the mentality that he has, that she should have. Like, what do you mean? I already explained this. I'm not gonna repeat myself. But that really pissed me off, and he's now the third man to fuck up in the show. The father, the boyfriend, now the guy she lives with. So she basically gotta leave. She gotta get out. So all of that was for nothing. She goes back with her mother. And her mother's like, oh yeah, your ass is back. Your ass is definitely back, because you ain't grown. You ain't grown. But of course she's still doing the rap shit. But at the same time she's listening to her mother. Because she's back in the house and she realized, all right, I need to just listen to my mother. She gets approached by the legendary DJ Marley Marl as she's doing laundry. He asks her to come upstairs, come rap for me. She rap over this beat, it ends up on the radio. Now you can only imagine as a teenager, you rap and then you on the radio, next day her life changed. Everybody knows her, everybody wants to talk to her, she's getting all these boys to want to be her boyfriend, all these kids in her school want autographs, and she's just big deal. She's in the newspaper, and her mother's like, oh, you're a big deal, all right, whatever. But because she raps over this song called Roxanne, she changes her name. She's no longer Shantae, she's now Roxanne Shantae. So that is where her name came from. It came from the beat that Marley had from another song, which of course I didn't know about, because like I prefaced before, I didn't know anything about this woman until this movie. But apparently she was a big deal, because I saw an interview of her, and she was like the first ever female battle rapper, and like she was like a big deal in the 80s. So she's on the radio and she's a big deal now. So she's booking shows, she's going on tour, her life is changing, like she's away from her friends. But at the same time, we must remember she's still a teenager, and she's not in school anymore. She has left school to go on tour, to do shows, to perform, to become a superstar. And we all know that never ends well for any young person, let alone a previously poor and still kind of poor yet famous black female rapper. So she goes on tour, and these people that's supposed to be her manager and her security and her friends and people she relies on, they don't pay her. They essentially rob her, and she's doing all of the work. Of course, she gets big and famous, and like I said before, people approach her to be her. I want to be a man, because that's kind of one of the lyrics in her song, like, can I be your man? I want to be your man. So in comes Mahershala Ali. Did I mention before that Nia Long plays her mother? Nia Long plays her mother, and she is amazing in this. Mahershala Ali approaches, and she knows him from the hood. She knows him as just the guy who's the drug dealer in the hood. It's never said that, but it's insinuated, because he has nice cars and a cell phone, and he has mink coats and all of these things. So he's a drug dealer in the hood, and he's like her mother's age. Obviously, Mahershala Ali plays the age he is in real life. We know he's in his 40s in real life. He plays his 40s in the movie. He's her mother's age, and he approaches her to get with her, because Roxanne Shantae is a big deal now. People want to be with her. His old ass fucks Roxanne Shante, and she's 16 years old, and gets her pregnant. This could have never been today, especially in this Me Too Times Up era. A 40-year-old man fucking a 16-year-old and getting her pregnant. Wow. My thoughts on this film are way too long now. I'm gonna wrap it up. I think you should watch it. I think it's a very good film. In case you haven't seen it, I don't want to keep spoiling it, but Mahershala Ali becomes abusive, and it's a really thorough story about this woman, and I'm glad it was made. I'm glad I know who she was now, because a lot of the times you don't hear about female rappers and their stories, and I'm glad her story is just very compelling. The fact that she just grew up in the projects rapping, she had this great talent rapping, and she didn't have her father. Her mother had to deal with, you know, this bad thing that happened to her, and she was depressed and she started drinking, and she felt like she had to be the breadwinner. She had to be the provider, and she didn't really get to be a child, and that's the whole premise of the film. The whole theme of the film is that she didn't get to be a child. She had to grow up too fast, way too fast, living in the hood, in the projects, taking care of her sisters, and she had this talent, and it saved her, because unfortunately every man in her life let her down, and she ended up having a son. She ended up giving birth to someone who's going to become a man, who is a man now, since this was the 80s. It's very well done. It shows her level of skill, and it also shows the back and forth that went on between female rappers, because she put out a song and like 15 female rappers went after her. And that's another thing that happens in hip hop that people need to talk more about. Like, why is it always the females that go against each other? At the end of the film, we see Nas, which was cool. All right, so that was my thoughts on Roxanne, now on Netflix. Check it out. It's really good. We get a breakout performance from Shantae Adams, who coincidentally has the same name as her character, which I thought was funny. And, you know, let me know what you thought of it. So until next time, deuces, triple dub.